Jacob was a young teenage boy of 14 years old. His mother passed away when he was very young. When Jacob was 10 years old, he got a severe injury in his right leg in an accident outside of his house, which would probably lead him to limp for the rest of his life. With time, Jacob had accepted to live out the rest of his life with a crutch, believing that he cannot do much in his life. Jacob would often be disappointed, watching boys of his age running, cycling, and playing football in the ground from his window, and wondered why it was not his destiny to do all these things. Jacob's father, David, would often be worried about his son when he see Jacob staring for hours at those boys playing in the ground, and used to think that what kind of father I am who cannot give his son a life like other normal children. David was a bit stubborn and determined person. He always treated Jacob like other normal children, ignoring his physical deficiency. He always says to Jacob that one day everything will be all right, and you will be able to play all the games you want to play with your friends. David used to take Jacob for physical activities such as swimming, jumping, running for 4 days a week, all of which were very painful for Jacob, as well as seeing him doing all these things. Some children used to make fun of him, and all this broke Jacob even more. That's why he often refused to do all this, but in spite of this, his father forces him to complete those tasks. One sunny morning, David's best friend, Mark, came to visit him at his house. They sit in quiet hall. David make tea for Mark. While drinking tea, Mark broke the silence and asked to David, "Don't you think David, a little kid who has already gone through so many things in his life, should at least be allowed to live a peaceful and comfortable life now?" After staring at Mark in confusion for a while, David asked, "Are you talking about Jacob?" Mark, "Yes, of course I am talking about Jacob. How can you treat your son like this, when you can see him in this condition?" David looked at Mark with determination and explained, "Mark, I understand your concern, but there is a reason behind every action. I want Jacob to realize his true potential and not be defined by his physical challenge." He added, "When Jacob had an accident, he lost hope and accepted his limitations. But as a father, it broke my heart to see him give up on himself. I knew I had to do something." David shares his belief with Mark, saying, "I want Jacob to understand that his physical challenge is not the end of his story. By pushing him, I'm showing him that he can overcome obstacles and can achieve greatness." After listening to David for a while, Mark began to say, "But wouldn't it be too painful for Jacob? Wouldn't it crush his spirit even more? Maybe because all of this one day he will start hating his father." David nodded, acknowledging the concern, and replied, "Yes, there will be pain, but growth often comes from struggle. Through these challenges, Jacob will find strength he never knew existed. And for me, it is better to try and accept win or lose than to lifetime regret for not trying. I'm always there to support him." After this incident, days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. David continues to encourage Jacob, motivating him to try new things and never give up. Jacob, though hesitant at first, but with time he get his self-belief back. One remarkable day, David was asking Jacob to walk without his crutches. Jacob was facing difficulty to do this. His legs were trembling, but suddenly, his father's voice echoed in his mind, Come on, my brave boy. You can do it," urging him to keep going. Jacob summons all his courage and braves the pain with a determination to prove himself. And then something incredible happened. Jacob took a step without limping. Although his knees were bleeding a little bit, but now Jacob could walk without his crutches as he took a step toward a new beginning. David's eyes were filled with tears of joy on seeing his son's achievement. After listening all this, Mark came to meet Jacob, amazed by the power of his father's love and determination. "David, you've done something wonderful," said Mark. "You have shown us the importance of a father's support and how it can change a person's life. It is because of your unwavering faith that Jacob has regained his strength." David smiled, his heart filled with pride. Just like Jacob, many people pretend to be mentally handicapped in themselves, who have accepted their situation by simply giving up on some challenges of their life, and all they need to do is push themselves hardly toward a glimmer of hope, just like David pushed Jacob. Goodbye, buddy. Hope you like this story. We will come back soon with a new story. Please hit the subscribe button to support us. Thank you. The Vision Tales signing off.